In school, you can learn how to use CAD or how gears work together or any of those things, but it's really a great simulation of the business world and actually working with people and working with limited resources. And for that reason, I think that it has been really valuable.
I love FIRST. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
FIRST is a pretty great experience because it gives us a chance to do some things that we don't really get just in our science curriculum.
FIRST is an organization that isn't centered around winning, and I like that a lot because it gets a lot of people involved that might not be involved otherwise.
It's really hard. I've been getting very little sleep, but it's one of those things where you just love doing it so much. I think that it's worth it.
FIRST stands for inspiration and recognition of science and technology. It's really an opportunity to do something hands-on with science that otherwise wouldn't be available for me. I started the team after I read an article in Discover magazine about the FIRST robotics competition, and at that point I was really interested in doing something with science as an extracurricular, but there was nothing available in school, as part of the curriculum or otherwise. And so I decided to start a robotics team to participate in the FIRST robotics program.
Being a member of a FIRST team isn't like being on a sports team where you're principally skilled in one area like basketball or swimming. We use many disciplines. We need people that like marketing, we need people that like finance, we need people that can program computers, we need people that can be creative and come up with neat sort of marketing things, and we need people that want to build a robot. So there's a lot of skills. Probably the most important, I would say, is just passion for being on a team and wanting to be part of something that's really great.
This year was different than last year in a lot of respects. We were able to make a much more technologically sophisticated robot, and that I think was a lot more interesting. It meant that our robot was able to do a lot more, and I think able to be a lot more valuable to our alliance partners because we were able to play really solid defense, and then we were able to lift two robots 12 inches off the ground for 60 points at the end of the match. And I think the fact that we could do that so well was really good for us, and it was a lot of fun getting there. We had a lot more of a concerted effort to do fundraising. Last year it was kind of haphazard and at the last minute, and I think happily this year it was really the opposite of that. We were able to go out and organize visits to companies and actually go out and reach out to sponsors in the way that FIRST had intended us to.
The fuel cell project was an interesting experience, to say the least. We started out having to do a research paper on what fuel cells were and how they could be used and why they were better than other alternative energy sources. And then the next phase of the project was to design and test a fuel cell system. And then we had to put it into a system that would generate power. So we did that, and we did some leak checking and stuff like that. And then the next phase of the project was to design a game and to put the fuel cell into a robot.
The kickoff was at Coffee Memorial Union down at the University of Minnesota. And we were the host team. We had a bunch of workshops for all the rookie teams, and they were especially geared towards new teams that were coming in that didn't know much about the competition. So we had a bunch of different speakers come in, including some of our own team members.
This year our robot did really well. I think it did as well as we could have expected it to. It was really successful for us, I think, and we finished second in the prelims, or in the qualifying matches, and then went on to place third in the elimination matches. We won the Spirit Award this year, and that was for our exceptional commitment to the FIRST program and spreading the word of FIRST in Minnesota, and so we're really proud of that.
So the team went to Atlanta for the national championship, or actually the world championship in this case. We finished up 35th in the preliminary rounds for our division. However, we got picked by the third seeded team. We went on to the finals in the Newton field, and the really neat thing is that the team that beat us won the whole event overall. So we did very, very, very well this year. Last year we went out in the quarterfinals. This year we went out in the finals of the field. Next year, it sets the bar pretty high. We've probably got to try and win the whole thing overall. But for a second-year team, there was a lot of recognition for us doing very, very well on the field, and there was a lot of recognition that we've got a great start to a great team, and we're going to be one of the powerhouses to deal with in the future.
For the sponsors, teams give back in a number of ways. The biggest is, just the opportunity to support kids in education and kids who are learning about science, because in recent years there's been a decline in the number of students that are pursuing careers in science and technology. And so the idea is that corporate sponsors who fund the FIRST program will eventually reap the benefits by hiring the students that they've mentored through their sponsorship. Also, it gives them visibility in our community.
They get name recognition. They get internal recognition of their mentors that they supply to teams. They get recognition by the community for supporting this program. They also get students that are familiar with their organization and sort of the job skills that are required in the future to make their organizations continue to be successful. And I think they feel good about it. I think they feel good about working with high school students. It's hard for a corporation to find an outlet that builds a successful relationship between high school students and the corporation. I think FIRST Robotics serves as a vehicle to do that.
For the students, it's not just about building a robot. A huge portion of the learning that takes place is technical, but just an equally large portion is the amount of things that you learn about teamwork and about working with people. And one of the most valuable things about it is that it really is like a business simulation, and you learn a lot about how engineering and business in general works.